Hey everyone, this is Avalon Ash. This is part 2 of the hexing, cursing, banishment, breakup, war water videos. I'm doing them all in one because they're all pretty related. So let's start with kind of talking about war water. So war water, which is also called Mars water, so this is technically an offensive form of protective magic. You can use it as, or you can use it to make war on someone. So if you ever feel like you're under attack or surrounded by negative energy, or you sense something dark is coming your way, the water of Mars will actually help you send this negative energy as far away from you as possible. And this is also called war water as well. So it's really a great tool that every witch should keep on hand, and it's one of my favorite things to make. And it's different depending on what you need it for, so just keep that in mind. So this is stemming from some African witchcraft traditions, like down in southern Africa. It's, I think, contrary to actual belief, the popular belief that war water is rooted in hoodoo, but there is some European influence with folk magic, like the Celtics and stuff like that. So there's some debates about this for what the most authentic recipe for war water is. But that's pretty unproductive when it comes to magic, when you start fighting over, who's right and where it came from. There's so many traditions that were lost, and really it's in our DNA. Spiritually, we're taught by our higher self, the collective consciousness, and in our DNA, what to do with magic. So when people start fighting about hoodoo, voodoo, witchcraft, all of that, just follow your intuition. It's inside your body. You're gonna know how to do this. Just listen to that voice inside of you. So you can use war water as a protective form of magic, or you can use it to curse or sow discord among your enemies or foes and stuff like that. So what we're going to do is just a pretty basic recipe. It's very simple. You can use, what you'll need is some iron nails. You can use coffin nails, which are kind of hard to get, but you can just get regular rusty nails. I like to get them already rusty. I just bought them in a group. I'm dropping them everywhere. So I just bought a package of them online a long time ago. It's just rusty nails. They're already rusty. You can get regular nails and make them rusty, which is really easy to do. You can just look up the recipe online. You're going to need some Spanish moss or black moss, which I have here. And you're going to need either swamp water, pond water, urine, or vinegar. So you can use, rice vinegar. You can use just regular white vinegar, which I have here. Just some old, just regular vinegar. Urine, which is in here. This is a war water jar that I made myself. I'm in the middle of doing this myself, so I'm going to use this process. So I have urine in this one, and I know it's really gross, but this is witchcraft. You're going to get dirty. You're going to get, dirt on your nails. You're going to get covered in all kinds of shit, basically. So using urine and semen, blood, stuff like that, if that makes you squeamish, then just don't use that. You might be more along the lines of like a white witch, even though I don't really believe in white witches or black witches. I believe everyone's kind of in the gray in between. But if that stuff makes you squeamish, don't do this work. You're just not ready for it, and that's totally okay. We're all on our own, level of learning and practice, so don't stress about it. But yeah, urine is something you're going to need. If you don't want to use urine, use pond water, the swamp or gross, that stagnant water, vinegar. You can actually use ammonia too. You can perform this on a certain day of the week if you want, like Tuesday, for example, is the day of Mars. But you don't have to. I do these kind of whenever. You can do it on certain, cycles of the moon, for example. But yeah, so what you're going to do with this jar, what I like to do is I like to keep, if I'm going to make a war water jar, I'm pretty serious about the thing that I'm asking for. I'm going to keep it around. I'm going to keep making war on this person until it's over. When it's over with, you can discard it. Some people like to bury these. You can leave these on your enemy's doorstep. I don't recommend that. Don't litter. Don't let people know that you're doing magic against them because of the law of concealment. Keep the shit secret. Don't leave the stuff in people's doorway. Don't bury it. You don't want people touching your magical work only you should be touching the stuff, only you should be seeing the stuff. I really believe in the law of concealment. I'm very protective about my magic and the things that I do. I only do videos on things that I feel like people can handle. I only do things that I'm allowed to, basically. I talk to the spirits and I say, you know, what should I do? And they kind of guide me through my intuition about what I should talk about. So I know that one of the conceptions is that you can use war water to, again, put in people's doorsteps and stuff like that. What you can do is you can sprinkle it around your house if you're making like a banishment war water where you're trying to banish of some negative energy, which I'll talk about. You can, you know, make this without sealing it and then pour it you know, on the person that you're trying to hex's lawn, their sidewalk, you know, somewhere on the ground where it's not gonna eat away at paint. Like, don't dump it on a person's car and have vandalism charges. You know, let's be smart about this. So one of the things you can do is you can dump the war water after it's completed on someone's yard or property. Just don't get caught, don't be weird. Or, you know, on the land, the target's land, basically, or property. But again, don't damage anybody's property. You can sprinkle around a perimeter of your own home, like I said, for protection, if that's your thing. You're gonna want to do this jar. You're gonna make it for about 1 day, and then you're gonna let it set for at least 7 days. So we'll talk about that. The oxidation of the nails is pretty important as well because of the whole Mars thing. I'm trying to think. So let's talk really quick about using the jar for protection. If you're trying to banish away negative energy or a person, you're going to dedicate the jar. So the first thing you want to do with any jar spell is you're going to want to set your intentions for the jar. You're going to take a jar, whatever color it is, whatever it's for, and you're going to set your intention. Say this jar is for, you know, let's say it's for protection and banishment of negative energy. So that's what this jar is for. You're going to cleanse the jar with clean water. You can also use sage, burn sage, run it over it, you know, and, you know, speak words to cleanse the item. I'll probably do a video on that. If I skip over things and you don't know what I'm talking about, just let me know and I'll explain it to you. I always forget that everyone's not always in the same wavelength as I am. So this is, you know, for example, I'm going to start with banishment of negative energy. So maybe there's a person in your life that's really negative that you want banished from your life. It's really simple. Put a picture of the person in here, put your intentions, the name of the person in here, and you can use, and you know, it really depends on how you feel about the person. If you want to irritate them, you want to put irritating types of ingredients, like different types of peppers. So that would be more towards the hex cursing kind of line. So it really depends on how you feel about the person. But if you're just doing like a banishment protection, you could put some, you know, crystals in here, some selenite. You can put, you know, salt water in here. It really depends on what you're trying to accomplish. But again, the first thing you want to do is set the intention for the jar, make sure it's clean. If you want to do the war water, so that's going to be a bit different, hexing, cursing, whatever it is, you're going to just set this jar aside, and this is what this jar is for the rest of its little life, and it will never be used for anything else. So make sure the object that you choose, the container, is dedicated for this. You will never put food in this. You will never give this to anyone. No one will ever touch this. This will be destroyed, you know, once you're done with it, whenever that is. But you're probably going to have this for a really long time. So just keep that in mind. So let's talk about war water that's not used for protective purposes. So let's pretend that you want to make war on a person. So just like I made the video about poppets. So you can use a poppet or you don't have to. It doesn't really matter. So what you're going to do, and keep this in mind, you can use this for, this is going to be a combination of war water to cause, you know, war, you know, like on a person, to cause discord in a person's life, or banishment or cursing. Again, every situation is so different that they're all going to be very unique to you and your situation and that person. So you're going to either put the poppet inside of it. If you have one, you don't have to. Try to get a picture of the person or people. For example, if you're doing a breakup jar, you're going to have a picture of the two people. And then you're going to write down everything you want to have with these people. You know, break up, separate, fight, leave, whatever. You're going to write it all over their pictures. I like to cut the picture in half because I want to physically separate these two people. I don't want them together. That's the idea. So after I write everything, I'm going to separate them, put this in the jar, and then, you know, you're going to write your intentions. So whatever your intentions are, write them out as specifically as possible. You know, put this in the jar as well. So next we're going to, so personally, you don't have to do it this way, but I kind of have OCD. I like to put the liquid in the jar first, put it on the altar, have everything set up, all the pictures. I have my intentions written out on the altar. I have my deity, you know, stuff. My candles are lit, and I add the ingredients as I go. So for example, the other night I had urine in the jar, filled up to about here. You can use vinegar. So I'll just pour some vinegar in here to pretend it's not opening. We use this. Hang on a second. Alright. So we're just going to fill it up with some vinegar. And it smells gross. That's the idea. Remember, you want to cause irritation. So we have vinegar or urine, whatever, in the jar. So as you're doing the ritual, you can say something along the lines of, and remember this has writing all over it, and you have your intention. You can read you can hold the picture in one hand, read your intention in the other, you know, say everything that you want to have happen to this person or the couple. You know, say things like, I wage war on this person, I break up or banish this person from my life or from each other's life. You know, whatever it is you want, put it in the jar. And we're going to add, so we have you can add crushed red pepper, which is very irritating. We have some ground cayenne pepper, which is very irritating. And while you're adding these, and black pepper as well. And while you're adding these, you can think about the person being very angry and irritated. You can picture, if you want something in particular to happen to them, like their eyes getting really itchy, picture pepper getting in their eyes, maybe, you know, like just whatever it is that you want, just be creative, use your imagination, use your intuition. For the ingredients, you don't have to go crazy. You can just use really simple grocery store items that are irritating. You're going to put a nail, at least one nail. If you have two people, put in 2 nails. You can use things like, you know, chicken's feet. You can put porcupine quills in the jar or in the poppets. You can use little medallions. Maybe they gave you a necklace or a piece of jewelry and that's directly connected to them and you want it to go back to them. You can take the piece of jewelry and you can dip it in the salt water, if this is your piece of jewelry, and say, this person gave me, you know, this necklace, and cleanse it of all connections with me. This item is directly connected to John Doe, and, you know, you can say something along the lines of, John gave me this item out of love, and he, you know, broke that trust, he broke our relationship, he cheated on me, and I want the karmic currency to go directly to him. I would like to use this item to connect to him directly, and then you can put it in the jar, something along that. So it's not connected to you, but it's connected to him. You don't need that, but that's just an option. You're going to put your moss in here. You can put as much in here as you want. I'm just using a little bit because this isn't real. Also, you can use things like, if you're hexing or cursing, depending on how strong it is, you know, you can use black widow spiders. This is for some serious hexing and cursing, more along the lines of death or serious injury. So just keep that in mind. So you can definitely use things like black widow spiders, but that's, again, some more serious stuff. You can also use black sand or black salt. So use some of that in there. And as you're putting in the ingredients, you're thinking about this person being hexed or cursed. Another thing that you can do is you can write out your intentions, and like I put in the money jar ritual, you know, after you write out your intentions, you can put them in the jar, but if you are afraid of them not dissolving fast enough, you can definitely write down your intentions. Sorry, I can't think. Write down your intentions. Take this out. I'm just using some 70 proof isopropyl alcohol. It's a nice clean burn. Remember to use fire safety. And so what you're going to do is you're going to take your intentions. If you don't want to put them in the jar and you want to put the ashes in there instead because you're afraid of someone finding out of what you've written, and you're just going to, you know, speak them out loud, and then you're going to burn them. And then once it burns down and you have just the ashes, you're going to put those ashes in the jar, or you can use it later on to dress the candle. So we're just going to let our intentions burn down to ash. And again, we can use these to put them in the jar directly, or you can use them to dress the candle. Also, what you can do is, I don't have a match with me. So I was given this candle by two of my clients, and it's a candle for protection, and I have other ones, but I like this one because it's black. So while you're doing this, you can always have a candle burning for protection. And you can, if you're worried about being protected and having anything come back to you, that's just an option that you have. You don't have to. It's completely up to you. Whatever your beliefs are, just remember you can add little things, whatever makes you feel better, whatever puts you in a good place. So while that's burning,